All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at World War II, which was, as we all know, a conflict of just unprecedented scale. And out of its immense shadows emerged figures of incredible stature. But how do we actually define their heroism? Because it's a really complex, multifaceted concept. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating framework drawn directly from our source material that completely redefines how we view these historical giants. So, what makes someone the greatest hero of WW2? It sounds like a simple, straightforward question, right? Actually, scratch that. It's anything but simple. Is the true hero the soldier holding the rifle in the freezing front lines? Or is it the commander making agonizing, sweeping decisions in a war room hundreds of miles away? This is the core historical debate we are about to unpack together. As you'll see, pinning down the absolute greatest requires us to look at heroism through several very different lenses. To make sense of all this chaos, our source provides us with an excellent framework. It measures valor through three distinct metrics: leadership, military strategy, and personal bravery. By separating macro-level inspiration from operational strategy and micro-level combat courage, we aren't just listing a bunch of historical facts, we're essentially mapping the architecture of victory. Let's explore exactly how these different lanes function. Let's kick things off with leadership. In an existential global conflict, leadership isn't just about managing a government, it's literally a weapon. True wartime leadership is the ability to inspire a nation through powerful rhetoric and unwavering determination. It's that macro-level capacity to forge the psychological armor a country desperately needs when defeat feels, well, absolutely inevitable. Winston Churchill was the very embodiment of this. His leadership wasn't just political posturing, it was an active, vital weapon. Through masterful rhetoric, promising blood, toil, tears, and sweat, he didn't just soothe the British public, he completely galvanized them. So the crucial takeaway here is that his specific brand of unwavering determination single-handedly kept the spirit of resistance alive during the Blitz and played a fundamental role in the ultimate Allied victory. But hey, inspiration alone doesn't win wars. That brings us to our second metric, military strategy. If leadership is the heart and soul of the war effort, strategy is absolutely the brain. These are the masterminds who built the scaffolding of victory across vast, complex theaters of war. They're the brilliant tactical architects who took that inspirational will to fight and turned it into concrete, operational successes on the map. Consider General Dwight D. Eisenhower, supreme Allied commander in Europe. His heroism was born of immense responsibility and just staggering logistical orchestration. Think about the sheer scale of coordinating the D-Day invasion. It meant synchronizing millions of troops, thousands of ships, and totally unpredictable weather into one unified thrust across the English Channel. His greatness lay in managing that incomprehensible complexity and turning it into one of the most successful military operations in human history. Now, pivoting to the Eastern Front, we encounter Marshal Georgy Zhukov, the Soviet Union's most celebrated military commander. Zhukov was the primary architect behind the decisive victories at Stalingrad, Kursk, and ultimately the Battle of Berlin. But what made him truly formidable was his unique command style. He was notoriously demanding, ruthless, and an absolute master of the Soviet deep battle doctrine. We're talking about commanding massive, multi-layered offensives here. His strategy demonstrated a willingness to absorb staggering casualties just to maintain a relentless strategic momentum and completely crush the Nazi war machine. His heroism is quite literally measured in the sheer scale of those decisive outcomes. Okay, let's zoom all the way in now. We're moving from sweeping operational maps straight down to the mud of the battlefield, the boots on the ground. Our third metric is personal bravery, extraordinary courage in individual combat. This is deeply personal and incredibly visceral. It's about what a single human being is capable of when faced with the terrifying, immediate reality of enemy fire. It's fundamentally different from the heroism we see in a command tent or a prime minister's office. 30. Over 30, to be exact. It's a massive, almost unbelievable figure. This represents the sheer volume of military decorations for valor awarded to just one single individual during the war. Let that sink in for a second. Earning even one military decoration is a profound achievement in any soldier's life. Earning more than 30? That completely defies logic, and it perfectly sets the stage for our embodiment of personal bravery. That staggering number belongs to Audie Murphy, who is widely regarded as one of the bravest soldiers of World War II.
When we talk about battlefield bravery, we aren't talking about drawing up grand strategies. We are talking about a man who famously jumped onto a burning tank destroyer to hold off an entire company of German soldiers with a 50 caliber machine gun. That is the absolute pinnacle of individual valor. His extraordinary courage in the face of direct, terrifying engagement completely grounds this third metric.
So this brings us to a really fascinating juxtaposition drawn by our source material. On one hand, you have the grand national scale of inspiring leadership with Winston Churchill, a man who inspired an entire nation to hold the line. On the other, you have the deeply visceral battlefield bravery of Audie Murphy, displaying astounding individual courage right under fire. They are entirely different, yet equally vital, architectures of valor. It's just a brilliant way to contrast what greatness can look like depending on the lens you choose to use.
So we come back to where we started, but now we're equipped with a much more structured framework. Which form of heroism do you value most? Is it the steadfast leadership that guides a nation's spirit? Is it the brilliant strategy that orchestrates massive victories? Or is it the raw, personal bravery of the individual soldier in combat? History doesn't force us to pick just one, but it does challenge us to define what true greatness really means when viewing these colossal events. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.